Would you rather be remembered by your performance or your sound and light show? Let us know in the comment section and why. I put this question out to the universe today, got all kinds of answers. Some people said that, you know what, people don't care about performance anymore. It's all about the shock and awe, the flashy lights, the big sound. Everything else will work itself out. Others said, look, personally, I want to be remembered by my performance, not my sound and light show. What do you think? Right down here. While you're typing that out, I'll riff a little bit. I'm on the camp where I'd rather be remembered by my performance. And I'll give you a couple of examples that you may be able to relate to. The first one I want to give is the Prince Super Bowl halftime show. I think most consider this to be the best Super Bowl halftime show ever. And every time anybody steps up to do a Super Bowl halftime show, no matter how much effort they put into this, it's not Prince's show. Like, he has set the bar so high that nobody can be satisfied with anything else. And if you look at that Super Bowl halftime show, there was a custom stage that was assembled, and it was beautiful. And there were fireworks. It was actually raining. And there was real lightning coming from the sky during this show. There was a shot where he's playing the solo to Purple Rain, and this big sheet was flying in the air. It was, fans were controlling it or something, and it was a giant silhouette of him playing the solo. And there was a marching band, and they had lighting on them that matched the stage. It was super, super cool production-wise. But when people talk about how amazing Prince's Super Bowl halftime show was, it's not because of any of that. It's because it was a fantastic performance. He upstaged all of it. He upstaged his set. He upstaged the weather. He rose above all of that and just put on an amazing performance. He played his songs. He played a Jimi Hendrix song. He played an Ike and Tina Turner song. He played a Foo Fighters song. Nobody saw that coming. It was incredible. If you haven't seen it, treat yourself and watch the Prince Super Bowl halftime show, even if you're not a Prince fan. Check it out. And like I said, I mean, if you've seen a better performance than that, the Super Bowl halftime show, most say no. And I hear people talking about the Michael Jackson one and the Madonna one, and quite frankly, I don't remember them. Now, a friend of mine said, look, as far as that Super Bowl halftime show goes, I'm not a Prince fan. I don't care. It was the sound and lighting. That's all people cared about. You know what? If that was really true, then all you'd have to do is do a bigger shock and awe sound and lighting show, and you would top Prince's performance. But guess what? It doesn't work that way. It was the performance that people remembered, and that's what made it great. Another example, Tomorrowland 2025. Most of you know this, but this is a huge music festival. I believe it's in the Netherlands. Like, this massive music festival. The main stage, all the big superstar DJs are on it. This is EDM festival stuff. A lot of you don't know what I'm talking about. Some of you absolutely do. But yeah, all these famous DJs perform on the stage. This stage was massive. It took 2 years to design and build, and it burned down less than 2 days before it was supposed to start. They're going to cancel the show? Metallica stepped up. I said, hey, use our stage show, our portable thing that we use. Massive speaker system, this big long LED wall, but the lighting was nothing compared to what Tomorrowland had in store. In less than 36 hours, they put it together, set it up, and the show went on, and nobody complained. It was, I guess it was amazing. They didn't need this huge, big lighting thing that they had to put on a great show. They were able to do it with Metallica setup, which, by the way, was good, was really good, but nothing like what Tomorrowland had. Not lighting-wise, anyway. Sound-wise, Metallica might have trumped them, but lighting-wise, no, it was nothing like what Tomorrowland had built and had burned, yet everything went off without a hitch. These are the kind of things that I'm thinking about. where it's like, how important is this stuff? A friend of mine who lives in Cyprus, he was talking about this show that went on at the beach. There were like 1,500 people in attendance, and the stage show was several stories tall, all this crazy lighting and moving heads and LED, and wow, 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 you could barely see the DJ up there. It's like, was all of this necessary? Couldn't you just put on a really good performance with a fraction of what they had up there for sound and lighting? If we're talking about crazy production shows, I think Rammstein's one worth mentioning. If you don't know anything about that show, it's amazing. And it's like way over the top great. I believe that's a case where people want to see the sound and lighting. They may not be Rammstein fans, but the show is so shock and awe that they want to check it out because of the sound and lighting. And that's cool too. Now, my personal opinion is sound and lighting is amazing. I just don't want it to upstage my performance. Ultimately, that's what I want. I want to be a performer. I want to do something that no one else can do. And I don't want to be replaced by sound and lighting. I don't want to rely on sound and lighting. I wonder how many people do this. I can remember when I was younger, yeah, we tried to make our setups look as big as we could with trussing systems and pars and things. It was almost peacocking to try to make us look bigger and better than we were. There was a situation that happened, I don't know, when I was probably about 19 years old. I was working for this multi-op, and the guy who was in charge of the office was getting married. And he had hired a band for this wedding. And apparently, whoever he married had money, because they got this great show band with this huge stage and lighting show. The frontman of this band, the guy who was the frontman, was like Mr. Personality. You know, quick on the microphone, telling jokes. All the stuff the old school wedding bands used to do. It was pretty cool. But yeah, our boss said, hey, I tell you what, if you want, you can take a DJ and a setup, and you can have that there to play band breaks. He said, okay, cool, let's do that, because the band does take breaks. Let's do something in the middle. Well, he didn't want lighting, because he didn't, he had the stage there with all the lighting. And the room was pretty bright, if I remember right. So I showed up with minimal stuff. He didn't get a lot. Speakers that sat on the floor, old speakers. The story was they were part of a Ted Nugent tour that got hit by a tornado, and the company bought them and rebuilt them. I don't know if that story is true, but that's the story they were always telling us. These beat up stage monitors on the floor, all mid-range, 2 really bad turntables, and a box of 45s. That's what I had. So the stage is in one corner with this big band. I'm in the other corner with 2 speakers and a box of 45s. My hair's down to here. I weigh 125 pounds soaking wet. The band is doing their first set, and I'm standing over there ready to go. The front man of the band is heckling me the whole time. Like, what is this crap over here? People were dancing, having fun, laughing along with him. They did their first break. And I got on the mic, and I said what I had to say. And I started playing tunes, and I upstaged the living shit out of them during every single break with minimal equipment, no lights, and a box of 45s. I murdered them. And it was a good band, and they played good songs. I was trying to play stuff they weren't playing. I had their set list. I was playing stuff that wasn't on their set list. But yeah, I put on a great performance. And from that performance, I got a job with a different multi-op that was a lot more upscale, because they were in attendance doing the video, and they're like, oh, we need this guy working for us. So they what's the word I'm looking for? They headhunted me there and kind of kidnapped me and took me onto their crew. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I think about when it comes down to, wow, is it about the sound and lighting, or is it about the performance? Now, I don't want anyone to twist this, because I do not believe that you should use this as an excuse for substandard equipment. In my mind, back then, anyway, it's just my point of view here, I had to rely on performance because I never had good gear. I never had any gear. I was using whatever was provided to me by the multi-ops I was working for when I was younger. Or I was working at a club and it was either fantastic sound and lighting or it wasn't fantastic sound and lighting. I was just kind of at the mercy of whatever was provided for me. I had to rely on my performance. I had to rely on everything from my programming to my mixing to my MC skills to be better than the next guy, especially on garbage equipment. When it came time to build my own stuff, I tried to build it better than anything that anybody had ever given me to work with. Did my best to do that. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, if I've got the performance down, which I do, or I felt like I did, sound and lighting is going to enhance that so much. So if I've got great performance and great sound and lighting, it's a win-win. If it sounds better than these other systems sounded, and there are things I can do with sound that the other companies weren't thinking about, like get rid of that mid-range. Try to do things that are more conversation level, where people aren't screaming at each other. Get rid of the ear fatigue. Not blind people with my light show. And all those things that I've evolved with over the course of many, many years. I think it enhances your performance. But I don't think it makes your performance. And it shouldn't overshadow it. You know? Clear, crisp sound. Not too much sound. Just enough. Lighting, ambience, super important. Ambience is super important. But it should be all pleasure and no pain. And I definitely don't want to put on this amazing light show where people are talking about this DJ, what a light show. Wow, this is the best light show I've ever seen. Or wow, that was a lot of lights. Or wow, that was a lot of bass. Or wow, that was no, I want to say, wow, that DJ was really good. His performance was fantastic. It was really good. And everything else, secondary. Ultimately, that's how I want people to remember me. Not as the guy who just stood behind great equipment, but the guy who actually put on a great performance no matter what equipment he was standing behind. That's who I want to be. But that's me. You might be different. And if you are, that's totally cool. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I will. Now, we're going to be having this conversation tonight, which is, I think, August 18th, 2025, on DJN TV. I'll put a link down below in the description of this video. It's a Zoom link. We're going to do this at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and I think 7 Pacific. If you want to join us and be part of the audience, you can. After we record the show, which I think is between 9 and 10, roughly. Or, no, 9 and 9:30, I guess, tonight. We'll open the room for discussion. Turn your mics on, turn your cameras on, and you can talk about it with us. But I think that's our topic tonight. I was talking to my friend about this, who's going to be John Crawley, who's going to be a part of this. And I think, yeah, this is a very relevant topic, which is why I posted this. Because we were talking about it. Just how are people just relying on these amazing sound and lighting systems and putting the talent like kind of as an afterthought? Can you just put anybody behind a set of decks with the right sound and light show? You probably can, but is that how you want to be remembered as a DJ? It's not how I want to be remembered. But that's my opinion. Yours might be different. We'll see you next time, or hopefully tonight on the Zoom conference. Practice and enjoy.